Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be talking about the new flag bearer Glaciela, what she specifically does, whether or not she's going to be worth it to pull. We're also going to be talking about Dark Tetra Sylphid, and we're going to be looking at whether you need to have one in order to have the other. Let's go ahead and dig in. So Glaciela was announced in a YouTube video that went live earlier couple days ago, I believe. And we know from the JP side that she's very powerful. She also has some unique things about her, such as the capability to extend chaining for an additional turn, which is an ability that no other unit in the game has. She is also the advent of equipment and vision cards that are going to be class specific, and we've already had a lot of class specific like abilities and buffs on some swords and some weapons and some vision cards, but this is going to be something going forward we're going to see a lot more of. And so she is kind of the beginning of these types of vision cards and equipment coming to the game. Specifically, before we talk about Dark Tetra Sylphid, you can see it in Platinum Lance. So if you've looked at any of the equipment on the JP side that does come out in the future, or any of the vision cards, you're going to see a lot of this. You're going to see a lot of conditional equipment stat buffs. So in the case of Flag Bearer Glaciela, her spear, the Platinum Spear that's going to be coming out, is going to give reaction block rate 30 for herself. Which is, or increased reaction block rate 30 for self, which is pretty interesting, and it's available for all of these classes. I do believe it has to be main class. Maybe someone can confirm in the comment section if subclass works as well. I'm guessing it has to be main class because they have to be this class to equip that weapon. But you also get initial AP up 20, pierce attack 15. So you may, even without the benefit of these primary classes, right? You may want to set this even just for the initial AP up, but we're going to be seeing a lot more of this as we do transition into the future. Now, a great example of this would be the next VC that's going to be coming out after Dark Tetra Sylphid, which is the VC that's coming out with Regalia Glaciela. And you can see that a lot of these changes are class specific. It's no longer, I mean, we'll probably still have elemental buffs, but even the party-wide conditions are dependent on classes. So lots of things to think about here when we are thinking about kind of the future of the game, the future of building Flag Bearer Glaciela, and of course with Dark Tetra Sylphid coming out. Now, Dark Tetra Sylphid is very similar to Dark Odin. Dark Odin, of course, has unit and party abilities that affect both ice and water units. In theory, right, it is a primarily ice VC for Dark Odin, and in theory you have water on it too to kind of cover up for ice's weakness, right? So that you can buff water units so that you can protect ice from fire. And we have the same type of situation here with Dark Tetra Sylphid, where you do have a primarily wind VC. The buffs are all for fire except for the GL exclusive buff, which is going to give the individual wind unit agility up. And when you're looking at this and you're thinking about this, you know, we never really saw water units like fending off fire units to defend the ice units. I do think we could see some elemental advantage play here with Dark Tetra Sylphid, given that there's going to be a predominance of ice in the future. Right, we have Alaya coming out in the near future, we have Zoma coming out in the near future, so it makes sense that, you know, maybe we'll get a GL exclusive fire unit, or maybe you want to run, you know, Regalia Glaciela or another fire-based unit like Delita. I don't think that'll happen, but maybe. So maybe you'll see some use with this. I think we'll really need like a fire exclusive GL unit in order to kind of pair with like Sodali and Glaciela, but you never know what's going to happen. And we also have Rairyuu coming out in the future, or his EX buff. We have Leela getting her EX buff, and then we have the Halloween Lucia coming out. And so Halloween Lucia, if we don't know her element, like she could all of a sudden be fire, and then you could be running like a wind fire team to counter the Snows and Alayas and Zoms out there. So there's just like, I don't see it happening right now, but if we're looking at it from the perspective of like buffing individual wind units, it is a very powerful VC. It is going to give attack 10% for the individual unit, AoE resistance 5. Party-wide, it's going to give Man-Eater up, missile resistance up, and then it is going to give single hit resistance up, even if the single hit resist is a little bit lower than some of the other VCs in the game, because it's giving 15 instead of 20. But I think when we're looking and talking about Flagbearer Glaciela as a whole, I think she's a great unit. I think she does a lot of really good things. I don't know that I have to pull for her right now. And part of the reason for that is because we've just had snow come out. We know that the Halloween units are coming out in the near future. Personally, in my account, I don't have Sodali, and I feel like you would have to have Sodali in order to make her effective. I think you could make a case that EX Leela's coming out, but you probably are just going to need a Sodali and Glaciela combination. And you could potentially consider like running a Wind Pierce team with Winter Luartha, but even then, Winter Luartha didn't get a secondary EX, so that'll probably happen when Christmas comes. So again, you're looking at really running Glaciela, at least in my situation, after all the really powerful ice units have come out. And again, maybe we'll get a Geo exclusive fire unit with Dark Tetra Sylphid, but I think this week the safe bet is going to be just to pull on Dark Tetra Sylphid. Taking a look at Revolutionary Flagbearer Glaciela, she does have access to some Trick Lancer and Nightblade. Her mastery ability is going to give some really good pierce attack and critical hit rate up. Let's go ahead and take a look at her resistances as well. She has 15 to slash, 10 to missile, 10 to magic, and she has 5% weak to striking. Good to note, she does have berserk and confusion resist. Whenever you have confusion resist, that makes me happy. There's a lot of times where I want to use confusion resist. We also have Agrius running around right now. So, you know, gonna be all good all around. Cup of Bull is her upgraded passive ability, AoE resistance 20, defense penetration 40, accuracy 25. Nobody's not going to set this. You're gonna want to keep in mind you basically already have 25 AoE resist on her, because she does have that AoE resist individual buff from, I'm assuming, Dark Tetra Sylphid that you're going to be placing on her. What's really awesome is that you can also run the Trick Lancer passive with her, so that you can get additional critical hit rate, right? So that would be a base plus 50 crit from her mastery ability, but then you get an additional defense penetration 40. So she's going to deal a lot of damage. So particularly in PvE content, she's going to be extremely powerful in raids or wind chaining, anything of that nature. And I think that really synergizes with her LB that extends chaining, right? Secret of the Nightblade could also be run with her if you want to, you know, really need that accuracy up and that attack up. I could absolutely see you making a case. She has reflex, which is incredible. It just makes her more of a monster. She doesn't have re-raise, and I don't believe she has guts, but having reflex kind of does deal with that. Her primary ability, Dispel Throw, it's really interesting because it has a unique buff on it here, which is that higher height. You can see it's the first time I've ever seen this on WoTV, this button, or this icon, but it's higher height increases range. And this could just be that, you know, we're seeing some updates to WoTV, which is great. But it has pretty good range on it. Primary attack will dispel all buffs, dispel haste, dispel physical and damage, increase buffs on the opponents. Her first buff ability is going to increase slash resistance and magic resistance 25%, as well as increase attack 40%. Again, reasonably powerful buff. With her range, though, you're probably only going to be able to get one buff off, so that may not be the one you want. She has a triple hit cross-shaped attack, very similar to Glaciela, which has a 30% increase in hit chance. It's going to dispel ignore fatal damage for targets, which is really powerful, and it's a 3-hit. You get an update to Wizette's Soul, so this is going to be the primary buff that you're most likely going to want to run on her. It's going to give 50% damage reduction, restore AP up 10 when performing a critical hit for 3 turns, and accuracy 30 for 3 turns as well. And this is effective on allies too. So you're going to be able to give your allies accuracy, and you're going to be able to give them restore AP on crit, as well as getting a 50% damage bonus for 3 hits. So very effective, very powerful. Finally, we do have her job level 12 ability, which is going to decrease wind resistance by 30 for 3 turns, which we've already talked about how she's going to be a very powerful PvE unit for chaining and for raids in the future. This is just going to further show how powerful she is. She has the spell Auto Revive on her job level 25 with piercing, which is really good. Interestingly, her sub-job abilities does have access to Slow Thrust, which is a cross-shaped 3-range attack. I actually think people may underestimate this ability. I think this could actually be really good. Again, really good in content that, you know, is going to be PvE focused. And then of course you have a buff which gives increased move up, and very often you don't need increased move up. You're probably never going to actually need this ability. You're probably going to be setting one of her other sub jobs, but when you need it and you want it, it's going to be there. Sub Trick Lancer, of course, is going to have break physical barrier and piercing. It's going to give decreased agility, decreased attack. I think you're probably going to be subbing Nightblade, probably to chain Wind Slash, potentially. You don't have access to the triple hit ability, but you do have access to Stun Blade, you have access to Spinning Slash, you have access to Injury Sword. All of this is going to be fine. And then her LB Valkyrie Burst is going to extend the element chain by 1 for target. So that is super awesome. My understanding of this ability is that it does extend the chain past the unit's original turn. Hopefully that's how it works. I will get confirmation before I upload this video, but yeah, it seems pretty cool to me. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys next time.